For 70 years, one woman stood at the center of history. She witnessed the end of empire, the rise of the digital age, 15 British prime ministers, countless global crises, and unprecedented social change. Through it all, she remained a symbol of stability in a world that never stopped changing. When Queen Elizabeth II died on September 8, 2022, it wasn't just the passing of a monarch. For millions of people across Britain, the Commonwealth, and around the world, it felt like losing a member of the family. But why did her death touch so many lives? And what was it about this remarkable woman that earned such extraordinary respect? Let's explore the life, legacy, and final journey of Queen Elizabeth II. Queen Elizabeth II was the longest reigning monarch in British history. For 7 decades, she dedicated her life to service, becoming one of the most recognized and respected figures on the planet. Her reign spanned generations, connecting the post-war world to the modern era. In today's video, we'll look back at her extraordinary life, the values that defined her reign, and the emotional farewell that united a nation in grief. Let's get into it. A young princess thrust into history. Few people are born expecting to become queen. When Princess Elizabeth entered the world in 1926, she was not expected to inherit the throne. But history had other plans. After the abdication crisis of King Edward VI and the accession of her father, King George VI, Elizabeth became heir to the throne. Then came another devastating moment. In February 1952, while on a royal tour abroad, Elizabeth received the news that her father had died. The young princess, only 25 years old, returned home as queen. Almost overnight, her life changed forever. What made that moment extraordinary was not simply her age. It was the commitment she had already made years earlier. On her 21st birthday, Elizabeth pledged that her whole life, whether long or short, would be devoted to the service of her people. Unlike many public promises, she never abandoned that commitment. She lived it every day for the next 70 years. Duty above everything. If there was one word that defined Queen Elizabeth II, it was duty. Throughout her reign, she consistently placed responsibility above personal comfort. Political leaders came and went. Governments changed. The world transformed around her. Yet the Queen remained a constant presence. Former prime ministers often spoke about their weekly meetings with her. They described a woman who listened carefully, asked insightful questions, and possessed an astonishing understanding of history and public opinion. She wasn't a politician. She didn't publicly express political views. But she offered something equally valuable: perspective. Having worked with generations of leaders, she carried a depth of knowledge few others could match. Many prime ministers later admitted that ignoring her observations would have been a mistake. Her wisdom came not from political ambition, but from decades of experience. And perhaps that is why she earned respect across political divides. The queen who lived through everything. Think about the world Queen Elizabeth inherited in 1952. Television was still new. Many homes lacked modern conveniences. The British Empire was rapidly changing. Now compare that to the world she left behind. The internet, smartphones, social media, space exploration, artificial intelligence. The transformation is almost impossible to comprehend. Yet somehow, through every change, she remained remarkably consistent. Historians often describe the Elizabethan age as one of the most dramatic periods of change in human history. What made the Queen unique was her ability to embrace progress without abandoning tradition. She modernized the monarchy when necessary, while preserving the institution's core values. That balance became one of her greatest strengths. People trusted her because she represented continuity. In an increasingly uncertain world, she provided reassurance, the human side of the monarch. To the public, Queen Elizabeth was a symbol. But behind palace walls, she was also a mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother. Those who worked closely with her often described a very different side of the Queen. They spoke of her sense of humor, her love of horses and dogs, her practical nature, and her remarkable ability to make people feel heard. One of the most revealing stories came from Archbishop Justin Welby. Years before her death, the Queen jokingly remarked that perhaps she had lived long enough. Even in discussing mortality, she displayed warmth and humor. It revealed something important. She understood her place in history. She accepted the natural course of life, and she faced it with the same dignity that characterized her reign. Many leaders also described her as someone they could speak to with complete confidence. She listened without judgment. She never betrayed private conversations, and she offered guidance without demanding obedience. That rare combination of discretion and wisdom made her trusted by leaders around the world. The nation says goodbye. When the announcement finally came on September 8, 2022, the reaction was immediate. Crowds gathered outside Buckingham Palace. Flowers appeared by the thousands. People stood silently together, many struggling to process the news. For most Britons, there had never been another monarch. Queen Elizabeth wasn't simply part of history. She was part of their lives. The public response revealed something extraordinary. People of all ages, backgrounds, and political beliefs came together in shared grief. Many described feeling unexpectedly emotional. Others compared it to losing a member of their own family. Even those who had never met her felt connected to her. That connection had been built over 70 years of service. The queue that became history. One of the most remarkable moments came during the Queen's lying in state. Hundreds of thousands of people joined a queue stretching for miles. Some waited 10 hours. Others waited 15. A few waited even longer. And yet very few complained. Instead, people described the experience as meaningful. Strangers shared food. Conversations began between people who otherwise never would have met. A sense of national unity emerged. Many later said that the queue itself became part of the tribute. It wasn't simply about seeing the Queen's coffin. It was about participating in a collective moment of gratitude. A final opportunity to say thank you. The end of an era. The death of Queen Elizabeth II marked more than the end of a life. It marked the end of an era. For 70 years, she had represented stability. She had been the constant presence through wars, recessions, political upheavals, and social revolutions. Her reign became one of the defining chapters in modern British history. As King Charles III ascended the throne, the nation entered a new period. But even amid that transition, one message remained clear. The Queen's legacy would endure, not because of titles, not because of ceremonies, but because of the example she set. An example of service, an example of resilience, an example of placing duty before self. Queen Elizabeth II's reign lasted longer than most people live. Yet her greatest achievement wasn't simply longevity, it was consistency. For 70 years, she showed up, fulfilled her responsibilities, and dedicated herself to something larger than herself. And perhaps that's why so many people mourned her passing. Not because she was perfect, but because she never stopped serving. What do you think was Queen Elizabeth II's greatest legacy? Was it her sense of duty, her leadership, or the stability she brought to generations? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next Royal History feature. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.